Hi, scholars. I'm Mrs. Call, and I'm here to share with you today somebody in our history who shows creativity and entrepreneurial spirit. I'm so excited to share with you a story about Benjamin Franklin and how he stole the lightning. See if you can find ways that he is being creative or using entrepreneurial spirit with the things you hear today. It's true. The great Benjamin Franklin really did steal the lightning right out of the sky, and then he set out to tame the beast. It goes to figure, though, because he was a man who could do just about anything. Why, Benjamin Franklin could swim faster, argue better, and write funnier stories than practically anyone in colonial America. He was a musician, a printer, a cartoonist, and a world traveler. What's more, he was a newspaper owner, a shopkeeper, a soldier, and a politician. He even helped to write the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Ben was always coming up with newfangled ways to help folks out. He was the guy who started the first lending library in America. His post office was the first to deliver mail straight to people's homes. He also wrote almanacs that gave hilarious advice about life and told people when to plant crops, whether there might be an eclipse, and when the tides would be high or low. And he helped to start a hospital, a free academy, a fire department. In colonial days, fire could break out anytime, and it was lightning that caused some of the worst fires. Many people believe that being struck by lightning was a punishment from God. Whenever thunderstorms were brewing, they would ring the bells, the church bells, for all it was worth. But it didn't do anybody a lick of good. Of course, after Benjamin Franklin stole the lightning, there weren't nearly as many fires for firefighters to put out. Now, why was that? I hear you ask. And how did he steal any lightning in the first place? Well, it's a long story. But before we get to the answer, here's a hint. One of the things Benjamin Franklin liked to do best was to make inventions. Why, Ben was born inventor. He loved to swim fast, and he wanted to go even faster. So one day when he was a mere lad of 11, he got some wood and invented swim paddles for his hands and swim fins for his feet. Ben could go faster all right, but the wood was pretty heavy and his wrists got plumb tired out. That's why his second invention was way better than the first. He would lay on his back, hold on to a kite string, and lickety-split would go right across a very big pond. You might want to remember that later, that Ben always liked kites. Well, Ben kept on inventing better ways for things to do for the rest of his life. Take books, for example. Ben read so many books that some of them sat on shelves way up high near the ceiling. So he invented the library chair. If he pulled out the seat, it would pop up, so stairs could help him reach any books all the way on the high shelves. And in case climbing made him dizzy, he invented a long wooden arm that could grab his books too. He also invented the odometer. That told him how fast he had ridden to deliver the mail, and the first clock with the second hand. And he even thought up daylight savings time. When he invented bifocals, the older folks could see close up and far away without ever changing their glasses. Hey, with all these bifocals, I can see what I'm eating and still see the place. The people talking to me from the other side of the table. Where you see the letter A, that's where he could see far away things, distant vision. B letters are the lenses on the bottom. That was for close up and for reading. Everybody and his brother and sister just wanted to find better ways to heat their houses in the wintertime. So Ben Franklin came up with the Franklin stove that could warm up cold rooms faster and use a lot less wood than old-fashioned stoves and fireplaces. People all over Europe and America loved Ben's glass harmonica. This instrument could spin wet glass bowls to make music sound like it came straight out of heaven. Mozart and Beethoven wrote music for it, and it was even played at a royal Italian wedding. But as popular as warmer stoves and glass harmonicas were, They weren't anywhere near as celebrated nowadays as the invention Ben made after he stole the lightning. Another hint about Ben's most famous invention is that he helped to make life easier for everyone. His scientific ideas were helpful too, and were often way ahead of their time. For example, he had a lot of ideas about health. He said that exercise and weightlifting helped keep folks fit, but they had to work hard enough to sweat if they want to do any good. He wrote that breathing fresh air and drinking lots of water are good for you. He was the guy who said, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away." And before anyone had ever heard of vitamin C, he wrote that oranges, limes, and grapefruit give people healthy gums and skins. Sailors soon got wind of this idea. They began eating so many limes to stop getting sick from scurvy. At sea, they became known as limeys. Didn't this man ever stop to rest? Even when he was outside, Ben kept on experimenting. For instance, he often sailed to England and France to do business for America. As he crossed the Atlantic Ocean, he charted the Gulf Stream by taking its temperature. Once sailors knew the route of this fast, warm river in the cold ocean, they could travel between America and Europe in a shorter time than ever before. So do you see him right here? He has his temperature gauge on a string, like a kite, but into the water. And he discovered by taking the temperature of the ocean, there was some warm water going in between the Atlantic Ocean, and it was like a river, and you could get there really fast. He probably was the first person to write weather forecasts too. Once he chased a roaring whirlwind by riding over the hills and forests of Maryland just to find out how it worked. Ben had an old scientific trick that he liked to show people every chance he got. He used to store some oil inside of a bamboo walking stick, and whenever he poured a few drops onto angry waves in the pond or lake, the water became smooth as glass. Meanwhile, all over Europe, people called electricians had started doing some tricks of their own. Well, one trick was to raise a boy near the ceiling with a bunch of silk cords and rub his feet with the glass electric tubes and make sparks shoot out of his hands and face. Another mean trick that made the King of France laugh so hard he could barely stop. His court electrician had run an electric charge through 180 soldiers of the guard, and they jerked to attention faster than they'd ever had in their entire lives. But although people were doing lots of tricks with electricity, nobody had a clue about why or how it worked. So Benjamin Franklin decided to find out. He asked a British friend to send him an electric tube so that he could do some experiments. In one experiment, he made a cork electric spider with thread for legs. It kept leaping back and forth between a wire and an electric tube, just like it was alive. Another time, he asked a lady and a gentleman to stand on some wax. One held an electric tube and the other a wire, and when they tried to kiss, they got shocked by all the sparks shooting between their lips. Ben even figured out how to light up a picture of a king in a golden frame. Anyone trying to remove the king's gold paper crown was in for a shock. Doing all these tricks gave Ben an idea for stealing the lightning right out of the sky. You see, Ben did not agree with being struck by lightning was a punishment for evil deeds. He believed that lightning was nothing more or less than pure electricity. Now he set out to prove it. First, he made a silk kite with wire at the top of it to attract lightning. Next, he added a kite string, tied a key to the bottom of it, and knotted a silk ribbon below the key. Ben and his son William stood inside the door of a shed on the side of the field to keep from getting shocked. Ben held up the dry silk ribbon. When he flew his kite straight up toward a big rain cloud. For the longest time, nothing happened. Well, just as Ben and William were about to give up, the hair on that wet kite string began to rise up and stand at attention. Ben put his knuckles near the key. Yikes! Out jumped a bright spark of genuine electricity. Real electricity had traveled all the way down the kite string. Ben had stolen electricity fire from out of the heavens and proved that he was right. Of course, now we know that if the storm had been any stronger, the great inventor would have been toast. Finally, here's the part of the story where Ben's practice from thinking up all of those inventions came in so handy. Way back then, you remember, lightning was always setting fire to ships, houses, and church spires. Even the best fire departments couldn't keep entire towns from going up in smoke. So Ben decided to make his most famous invention of all, the lightning rod. The whole idea was to pull electric lightning safely out of the sky before it could do any mischief. Ben showed people how to put a pointed iron rod on the tip top of a roof or ship's mast and connect it to the wire, leading all the way down under the ground or into the water. Now the lightning could follow a safe path without burning up a thing. This simple but brilliant invention worked beautifully. It saved more lives than anyone could count and made Benjamin Franklin a great hero. Scientists from around the world lined up to give Ben medals and awards, but during his long life, he became much more than the master of lightning. Why, when America fought against Great Britain for the right to become a free nation, Ben convinced France to come help with the war, and when it was over, he helped convince Great Britain to sign the peace. He had helped in so many ways. The people of France honored him with a beautiful medallion. It says, "He snatched the lightning from heaven and the scepter from tyrants." And so he did. The end. Did you find some ways that he was a creator or an inventor or an used entrepreneurial spirit? I hope you saw the many ways. Behind me here in my office, I have a picture of Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams working together on creating the Declaration of Independence. They used creativity and entrepreneurial spirit for us and our nation. How can you use your creativity and entrepreneurial spirit to help those around you? You can write your teacher, or you can even write me and let me know how you use creativity and entrepreneurial spirit. I can't wait to hear. Bye.